Hello, it's me again. The third and final summer of 2025 video set for the Pier Cove Sanctuary. Again, I'm not doing the path around the house because nothing's changed there. I'll just do that video again in the fall when the leaves are gold. This is the long loop video. The last time I did this video, it took 35 minutes to walk it and talk it. I think I can do it in a little less than that, but you may have to bear with me. A lot has been done, and I'm excited to show you. So this is the bifurcation right here we're standing at, where here this goes back to the labyrinth right here, and you know the and it continues on here. That's the inner loop, the first video of this series, and then if you coming up to the Zen garden. Right, coming up to the Zen garden here like we just did in the last video, you have the blue path proper, the Tranquility Loop I call it, and I have signs printed and posted at intersections only. I don't really want to go sign crazy, so I have just at intersections where it might be confusing, I've placed signs so people can know generally where each direction of the path goes. And so now we're on the blue loop, or the large loop, or the long loop, or what I call the Tranquility Loop. And I've placed, and I found a bunch of really beautiful trees along this loop, and I'm starting to open them up into seating areas, kind of like this one. And I ordered, how many of these benches did I order? 11 in total, including this one. And so on this loop, you know, spaced along this loop at all the beautiful spots where I think someone would want to sit, I've placed one of those benches so people can just walk this mile-long loop and just sit a lot, you know, and meditate, which is nice, or just sit, you know, just sit and be. There's this spiral. I used to call this, by the way, a red pine. This is not a red pine, it's a Scotch pine. Scotch pine. So what I call in the first set of videos in May, what I call locusts are actually sassafrases, what I call red pines are actually Scotch pines, and what I call red spruces up here are actually yellow spruces. I misnomered a lot of my trees, and I have since found out the proper name. So this is the first yellow spruce in what I call the Spruce Cathedral, which starts about here. If you remember in the last video, this was all choked out. You couldn't see any of this. And I kept looking through thinking, boy, that could be a beautiful rise of a hill there. And down here to the right, all choked out. And there were tons, and still are, tons of American beech saplings trying to come in. And the American beeches are really trying to make a foothead here. And so I went back about 150 feet and gave space to those. So in 150 years, that is going to be an amazing, from there all the way down, is going to be a phenomenal American beech grove. I have planted, quote unquote, those trees in whose shade, under whose shade I will never sit, and I will never see them. But man, it's going to be something. All that in there is going to be amazing in 200 years. As long as no one comes and does anything human to it and messes it up. I'm hoping I'm making this place pretty enough that people will be inspired not to screw it up and leave it so that nature can keep making it more and more beautiful. We shall see. Well, I probably won't be around to see, but hopefully somebody will see. This is how all of it will look when I'm done picking up. I picked up this section and moved everything there, and I'm going to do the same with this stuff, is all going to go there, and that stuff I have a pile back there, and all of this stuff, there's a lovely little bowl right over there. So this will all get picked up. Whew. The goal was to have this picked up last week, but you know about goals and working in the woods. I mean, you can forget that stuff. I mean, it's going to get picked up when it gets picked up. What have I got to say? At some point this will all be magnificent. But at least the cutting is done. I don't intend to do any more chainsawing along most of these sections of the path near the house that you see. I think I'm pretty much done with cutting. It's just picking up now. Which is, you know, that's the tedious part of the job, but very gratifying when you get done because it just looks so darn nice. This corner turned out real fine. I found another one of these umbrella American beaches. Look at that little guy. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that the coolest thing in the world? So I'm cleared out around him in the hopes that these pines are all going to go, right? I mean, I don't know how long yellow spruce live, but this is a southern pine. It's going to go soon. That's a southern pine. It's going to go soon. Yeah, so this should have light and enough water and nutrients and light to really go places. And that could turn into a really cool tree at some point. Well, again, long after I have passed onward. But somebody is going to appreciate that in 100, 200 years. Moving along here. More little flags for stumbling hazards I have yet to chainsaw out that I've got to get to. Long list here. Long list. And so this is the old easement that used to be for the public to get from Lakeshore Drive down here to the public trust, the Pier Cove Ravine trail system, which is about 200 yards that way. And then our blue route bifurcates it, crosses it, but I put signs up because even though you can't get to Lakeshore Drive anymore, you can get to Mother Maple, who we'll see at the end of this walk. You can take a shortcut right to her right here. So I made a sign that says Mother Maple there, and I have a Tranquility Loop sign there for people going this direction. And then I have a Pier Cove Ravine Upper Loop Trail. If people want to get to that, that's the way to that. And then, of course, Tranquility Loop again here. So I have come across people in the past that would get confused, but now I think with the signage, I think people will be able to more fluidly navigate the trails. And a lot more people are using the trails now than were using them in May. Like a sizable chunk of folks now know about this place. Word has gotten around, and I meet new people all the time out here while I'm working, and they seem to really enjoy it. It's a real pretty place. So you see these stumps I've isolated. I got to chainsaw those out. If I don't have enough flags, I just stick a stick in the ground, so hopefully people will see the stick and not stumble over the stump. I will definitely get to those this week. That's been on my list. They have to go. I don't want people tripping. So here we go, flowing along. You remember this guy, this amazing cedar. A lot of the cedars look like this because they've been thirsted out. I think the water competition was causing them to like halfway die out. Still very vibrantly alive at the top, but a lot of them look like this. My hope is by removing the water competition all the way around, they will make a comeback and get green again. I hope. I mean, that's my goal. Or at least to continue to live as they are for a long time. This is nice. There's more of those. These are really big southern pines in here, I think, and some of these might also be yellow spruces, these really big evergreens that give this nice shaded, mysterious feel. So, moving right along. Again, I knew generally the direction I had to go, and I just went from cool tree to cool tree. And so I saw, like, I built the path in this direction, and there was a really cool wild cherry right there that I oriented towards in this direction. And then I saw this American beech right here, which is relatively large. Everything on the property was clear cut 130 years ago. So some of the trees have done really well in 130. That's a nice wild cherry right there. But I think there's almost nothing here older than 130. But some of them now are going to really boom now that they have more light and nourishment and water, you know, with the clearing out of all the sassafras I've been doing. So we'll see. Should be able to tell a big difference just in a year. So next year, if I'm still here, I think I should be able to tell a difference. Still moving along here. I think technically we are almost coming up on the halfway point, I think, of the walk. Certainly we're a third of the way done of the mile. And here's another intersection. This is the easement that I cut in that the public now uses to walk from Lakeshore Drive to the right. Lake Michigan is to the right. And then the Pier Cove Ravine Upper Loop Trail is to the left. You see there's the sign again. And then there's the Tranquility Loop sign for people. And here's the Tranquility Loop sign for people with the blue dots. And then the Lakeshore Drive access that's open now to the public, I have color-coded in yellow. And a nice woman named Lori just made a nice map for folks that's color-coded with, that matches the colors of my dots. So that's going to be useful for people too. This is very exciting. All right, zooming along here, doing good. And of course, you know, with more light, you get more of these saplings. I have to come here. I just got a weed eater, so I have to weed eat this path before I leaf blow it now, because it's got all of these, you know, nature grows, you know, nature just grows. So I'll prune this back, knock this back with the weed eater. Holly tree, that's why I came here. This holly and this healthy cedar is why I came this direction. It's a beautiful tree, beautiful. That's going to be amazing. This guy has much less competition now too, so he should get nice and big. And this cedar was already doing good. This is the only healthy cedar on the property, and I think it's because it's growing like right next to the pond, and so it's got the beautiful boughs. It's green all the way up, very healthy. And it's because right over here is the pond. It's a man-made pond, and it used to have a lot more water in it. And I really want to do something with this pond because the wildlife like to come use it to drink, and this could be beautiful. I just don't know how to get more water in it. That's a long-term project. I want to make a little viewing platform like right about here and get these trees out of the way so you can just sit quietly and watch all the wildlife and the birds, right? Drink at the pond. But again, that's just, we dream, you know, we just dream. And we make a list of stuff to do, and we prioritize, and we just start at the top, and we just get done as much as we can in the time we've got, you know? That's just true for us all, I think. So maybe I'll get to that pond project, and maybe I won't. I don't know. We shall see. So now we are pretty much at the southern edge of the property. There's a development over here of new houses, some of them quite pretty. And I've met many of the neighbors who live here who are enjoying these trails. Very nice people. So now we are walking towards the lake again, parallel with the southern edge of the property. So we're walking west now. And we're coming to the next in the series of those benches I was talking about, a place that I call the Maple Cafe. Because there's this amazing sugar maple here. I'll show you. Amazing. So this is still in progress, by the way. All these stumps get cut off at ground level. Anything like 6 inches in diameter or less is going to get taken out to open it up. And I'm going to put a big barrier, nicely stacked barrier of stuff for like energetic safety or security behind the bench there that's right there. So people can sit and look at this lovely tree. Look at that. Look at that, would you? Heavens to Betsy. It's a beautiful maple tree. I left that wild cherry right there. I thought it was artistic. But the rest of this stuff comes out, and it has a nice open feel to it. There's a really big yellow spruce back there too. So I'm going to kind of open this up, and I put in the first of 2 of these little tea patio table chair sets. Isn't that cute? So people can come here with their tea and have tea in the Maple Cafe and look up at that. Huh? That's what I'm talking about. So that's, again, a work in progress. This will not take too long to finish out. When I get really humming with the chainsaw in a small area like this, I really can knock it out in 1 to 2 days. I can have that perfect in 1 to 2 days. I just have to find those days, you know. Okay, moving right along still. This is also a pretty sugar maple. This one doesn't have a name. I hope he doesn't get upset about that, or she. People tend to call maples feminine names and oaks masculine, which is interesting. So I can stick with that, but I'll probably move these guys, chop them up and move them back into a pile back there to open up this nice space a little bit. This is a really pretty space. We're coming up now to a place where I've done a ton of cutting, and it is going to be gorgeous when I'm finished. And it is a chaos zone now, though, because I just cut like a madman. Essentially what happened is I had just, with the help of my friend, it was her idea, found this new path that goes along this ridge up here in the last video 3 months ago. And so you'll have to compare what you see now with what 3 months ago. So I could look down and tell there was something just magnificent about this little valley here. And so if you imagine, look at all this stuff. I was a lot of chainsawing, friends. And there's still some more sassafras in here, like along this line here, straight through. I'm gonna try to take all the sassafras out here to let there's a lot of beautiful red oaks in here, and there's some beeches coming in, and there's some sugar maples in there. And there's some wild cherries in there. So I'm going to try to let that open up and become like magnificent big growth, and move all of this stuff over here into the burberry. That's burberry over there. You don't want to mess with that. Thorny, weedy, invasive. But I can throw a lot of this crap over there, and then I've got a lot of this crap can go over here, and then a lot of that crap goes in a gully right over there, and this just opens right up. It's going to be phenomenal. And I'm not sure, I don't really have a name for this yet. Maybe Deer Ridge, because their deer love it here. And when I get this crap off the ground, the deer are going to go crazy in here, eating all the shoots that are going to grow with all that sunlight. So ideally, you'd be able to walk this path, sit on this bench up here, and just watch deer. The path used to go over the hill here and down, and it was so steep, even I was having trouble navigating it, and it went through that old pond bed there with the sand and that way. And I was talking to my friend, and then she was just like, why don't you just go through here? And of course, here was just a wall of dead cedar trees. Couldn't see anything. I was like, what are you talking about? She said, just go along the ridge here. And so I went right through here, and it just opened up. And so I cut all of it down. And you see the result. It really is a lovely path now along this ridge, which is about, 15 feet above the floor of Deer Valley, if we want to call it that. So you can kind of tell now, look at the view. See how it looks when you look down like that? Isn't that something? I mean, that's something right there. That really is something. And it's going to open all the way to there. And I'll have a lot of these sassafras taken out here, so it'll open up back into there and there. And this should just be deer heaven. And then you just come and sit on this bench right here, right? And just enjoy your life. You just enjoy your life. Looking out here and just digging it, Just loving it. Anyway, so that's, I guess, Deer Valley. Maybe Deer Ridge. Maybe Deer Ridge is a good name. Still the blue dots, so people don't get lost. Originally, that bench was going to go underneath this massive, beautiful evergreen. I think that's a southern pine. Overlooking this caldera, which I'm going to clear out. But I decided to put the bench back there on Deer Ridge, and I'll still have this open up for people to look at when they walk past. And then here is where this new portion of the path, which is so much better, reconnects with where, the old path came from right there, which I'll block off with more detritus to make sure no one goes that direction by accident. Lots of weed needed here. It opened up, and the saplings are coming in, so I'll weed eat all this out pretty soon in short order. And we are now well over halfway of the mile, which is good. How long has this video been going? Oh, we're okay, 19. Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. If I get this under 40, I'll be happy. It's a long walk. There's lots to talk about. Look at that maple. Look at that sugar maple. Isn't that something? Beautiful. Just beautiful, these trees. My God. And you couldn't see any of this crap. I shouldn't say crap. Any of this beauty was just so swallowed up by dead pines and sassafras of all different ages that you couldn't see. It all looked like that at best. Sometimes even thicker, where you couldn't see anything hardly at all. And now it's just opening up wonderfully. Here's a red oak. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. Right? Wow. Wow. All right, round on the corner here, and we're headed for home. Heading for home. So, let's see what else to talk about here. Oh yes, there was this old power line here that you remember from the last video that ran from way down here, from the power line, the main power line that feeds power to the neighboring communities, and it ran all the way to the pond. It runs all the way to the pond, and no one knows why it was here. It's a mystery. I'm sure there's some really cool story behind it, but I got it verified by the power company that it was dead, and I bought some industrial bolt cutters, and I've been cutting it into lengths and stacking it so that it can be recycled someday, and until then be out of the way. So there used to be this ugly power line here, and it's gone because I've cut it like about 100 feet that way. I was just testing the bolt cutters, and they work great. So that experiment worked. So I'll be able to get rid of that entire power line, or at least make it invisible, you know, so it's no longer an eyesore. Holly tree. That holly tree is why I took a right turn here. Beach, beautiful beech tree. This is gonna be a beautiful beech tree. Well, it already is a beautiful beech tree. How much? I got 32% on the battery. Gosh, I hope I can make it. I think I can. I think I can make it. Zooming right along. I know I say that a lot. I'm just doing that to motivate myself to keep moving, so this video doesn't get oppressively long, and so I don't run out of battery on the camera. This is what I call, for lack of a better name, Maple Glen. This area has some astounding sugar maples in it, and a couple of red oaks that are magnificent as well. So this, of course, is the back end of Deer Ridge Valley, the valley that we saw from the Deer Ridge here just a little minute ago. You remember when you look left from that bench on Deer Ridge, you see this bench here. And so I opened all this up, as you can tell, and I got to haul all this stuff out of the way, that way and that way. And so that this whole area will be major loveliness. My friend Helen told me this was a dead spur on this cherry tree, and my friend Helen told me she found some special rocks on the beach and she was going to put them here. And she did, on this little shelf. Isn't that lovely? Oh, that's lovely. That's just lovely. I'll have to tell her thank you. That's wonderful. So here's the next to last intersection. This is again the new easement that we've already crossed once. So that's Lakeshore Drive with the sign. There's the Tranquility Loop sign. There's the sign that says Pier Cove Ravine Upper Loop Trail. So when you want to get to the public trails for the Pier Cove Ravine, you go this way. And if you want to keep walking Tranquility Loop, you go this way. This big tree fell, this big maple fell, and if you remember in the last video, it was a huge spur here and a big spur here, and I chainsawed them up into firewood lengths just to open that up a little bit and save some weight from this magnificent sugar maple. I mean, that's phenomenal, just phenomenal. So, keep going here. Yep, we are doing really well. I feel confident that we are going to be able to make the rest of this walk before the battery dies. That makes me very happy. These stumps that you see, I'm going to have to cut off at ground level. And of course, all this has to get hit with the weed eater. And then if I can get enough foot traffic in here, once you weed eat it enough and you get enough foot traffic, you won't have to weed eat it ever again. So I'll be excited about that. All right. So here I have a bifurcated in and out to get to a gorgeous cherry tree, which I will show you, and a magnificent beach, which I will show you from afar. The beach is still, that area is still under deep construction. This has been cut up and just needs to be hauled off. But this cherry tree is something else, so I'll show you guys. This is what do I call this? Cousin cherry. We've got Brother Beech, Mother Maple, Cousin Cherry. I don't know exactly how this all works with the names. But this is a gorgeous cherry tree. Look at that. Look at that beautiful cherry tree, wild cherry. So I've got the other tea table with 2 chairs there. I've got the bench here. And of course, this will all be cleared out and made lovely. This is going to take a lot of work, but this is going to be a beautiful place for people to come sit and reap the peace of this particular tree, which I don't know what it is about this tree, but that tree is something else. That's something else. All right, head back out, back to the main path. Don't stumble on all this stuff. Down this path is Brother Beech. It's the biggest beech tree. It's about 3 foot in diameter down there. You can see at the end of the path. And that's going to be a lovely spot. A lot of construction has to happen there. I got to take a couple of more trees out and do some clearing, but a wonderful tree. That's the biggest American beech on the property. And so there's also a bench underneath that beech tree, Brother Beech. So that'll be done by the time the fall videos go up in 3 months, which is nice. A little sooner than 3 months. I'm going to video the fall videos based on the leaf turn. That when the leaves turn all perfect yellow, it doesn't matter if it's late October or early November, I'm just going to make the videos. So I mean, it could just be 2 months if things go faster than normal, that the fall videos will be made. I'm guessing it's going to be 2.5 to 3 months. I'll have the fall series of videos made. And I do not plan on doing one in the winter unless I can get a really beautiful, snowy, sparkly day. I may do some winter videos. All right, here's the old easement again. We're crossing it again. So there's the sign directing people to the public trail, the Pier Cove Ravine Trail, and here's Tranquility Loop. This path technically for the public dead ends in about 50 feet, and there's a sign there that says private residence only beyond this point. And I've cleared this out. This has turned magnificent. This was, if you remember from the last video 3 months ago, this was a mess in here. A mess. And now it is astounding. Look at that. Look at that, would you? Cleared all this out. Tucked everything behind that fallen pine right there. Opened up Mother Maple gorgeously. Just beautifully. This turned out so nice. I still have to leaf blow around her, and I still have to weed around her, but I have all 3 benches placed around her equidistant. So she gets 3 benches, because this tree, you will see now, hard for the video to do it justice. If you're in the presence of this tree, everyone stops and just gazes at this tree. I mean, she is something else. Something else, she is. There's a butterfly. Swallowtail butterfly flies right over my head. And in the background there, I cut down some sassafras, and all of a sudden there was a mature red oak right there. Kind of her partner. Kind of, the masculine and the feminine right there, which you couldn't even see that red oak 2 weeks ago. Couldn't even see him. And so that's all opened up real nice. Moved the detritus back about 100 feet. And this place is amazing now. And some more tidying to do, but it is really, really nice here. And close enough to the driveway that this will get a lot of foot traffic. Oh my God, I'm not going to run out of battery power, guys. I'm going to be able to finish this video. And it's coming up on, oh my God, less than 30, it's shorter than the last one too. Guys, does that mean I'm getting better at this? Anyway, this opened up real nice. And of course, you know, I've got that long pile. If you remember the walk on the Orange Trail, the inner loop, there was that long critter house with the flying squirrel on it in 2 videos ago. That's right there. So a lot of this stuff will end up going there. A lot of all this stuff will go there. A lot of this stuff will go on this pile here. This stuff here will probably be picked up and thrown over this. When I got cedar sections, I sometimes make artistic walls out of cedar sections. They last forever. There was another flying squirrel that just ran through. Look at that. Nice. I wonder what that's about. So I made this yesterday, and I'm going to keep stacking cedar chunks onto it to make it really nice and artistic to round out this curve. And I can just throw a bunch of this junk over here to connect that detritus pile with this wall over in here. That'll be an efficient way to do that. But this opened up really nice. This was a very ratty corner right here, very unattractive to me personally anyway. And just 2 days ago I got in here and just went to work. And really, it turned out real nice. Little white fir right here, 3 nice American beeches. I tucked all the stuff behind that fallen pine. And of course, all that stuff has to get put there. And all those chunks have to get put on that pile over there. And when I get chunks like this, I pile them up because I put them in the wheelbarrow and take them somewhere. They're very heavy. I may have to cut some of those smaller, actually. But it opened up real fine, didn't it? Look at that. And of course, this stuff I'm working on, I worked on this yesterday, so this will all keep gravitating towards that big pile over there. All of this stuff will all end up over there on that pile, and this will all be open. This promontory will be open. And in 200 years, this beech tree, hopefully, will be humongous and will fill this entire space. That's why I left her there. Because she has such a beautiful form, and so I put the path around her so that in 100 years, 200 years, people might be coming to visit her like they are now coming to visit Mother Maple. So, friends, and now we're back to where the inner loop joins here with the blue loop coming towards the driveway, right? So the inner loop, we walked this direction in the last video, and we curved this way, so we'll also go this way, past this beautiful red oak that I just passed. Magnificent tree. And here's another one right here, another red oak, and here's another red oak right here. And when we get to the driveway, we'll call it. Very, very exciting. 3 red oaks right here. Beautiful, beautiful. In fact, these are what inspired a lot of this. The owner saw these from the driveway and could barely see them and said, those look like cool trees. And that's what inspired me to start doing a lot of this in this section, not knowing at all that I was going to turn it into this amazing series of trails. So anyway, I think we don't even have to go up the driveway. I think I'll just turn around here and say, okay, I made it. 33 minutes, nice job. I'm sweating because it's so humid. Oh my God. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I enjoyed sharing that with you. So now you have all the spring videos, you have the summer videos, and in 3 months, 2.5 months, when the leaves turn gorgeous gold, I'll try to catch them just right, and I'll make some fall videos for you. But in the end, until then, yeah, if you have any questions about what you saw, I love people who are interested and ask questions about trees or what I did, where and why. Most of the times there is some sort of answer. You can email me at rediscoveringpeace@gmail.com. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the videos, and I will see you in 3 months. Peace out. Peace. Peace.